Hi, my name's Wendy from Sunflower Publishing, and I have a lovely guest this morning. My guest is called Midge Guerrera. I hope I pronounced that right. I will check with her. She describes herself as a creator, performer, writer, blogger, actor. So, a lady of many talents. So, let me just make sure she's here and we can talk to her about her latest novel. Calling Midge. Hello, Midge.
Good morning.
Good morning. Buongiorno.
Buongiorno, cara. I can see from your background you're probably in Abruzzi.
Yes, a very warm day, I must say. I don't know what the weather's like in your part. It's hot. The fans are on in every room, blowing all the papers everywhere, a box of tissues to hand to dab the forehead.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yes. And a glass of water and a glass of water. Fa caldo, fa calda.
Fa caldissimo. I got up this morning to the banging and clanging of the barn adjacent to my house being torn down. Now, Questa Italia and my landlord had requested this 2 years ago. They decided to start today. So I couldn't do this Zoom call from my office. I'm in a closet upstairs. Oh, it's really hot.
You're in a closet.
I am. Because I needed someplace where we'll probably still hear or whatever you're doing to tear down the barn.
It's lovely to meet you. You sound an absolutely fascinating lady. And I know from the website, we have, and I'd love you to talk about all of these in order. We have creator, performer, blogger, writer, actor. So let's take it right back. Let's go back to the beginning and just tell me a little bit about your life in New Jersey.
Oh, wow. Well, my life in New Jersey when I was little was kind of like my life here in Ponte Landolfo. My grandparents and my aunts and uncles were all from Ponte Landolfo, Provincia di Benevento. My father was born in New Jersey. He was sort of one of those babies that happens after 40 and everyone's always so surprised.
Right.
Yeah. So they had a family farm. And as every aunt and uncle got married or did whatever, they got an acre. So the house that I grew up in was next to the farmhouse, which was near Aunt Dolly and Uncle Nick. And, so you didn't know who your parents were because everyone could smack you. Really well. So it was very rural agrarian. Yes. And there were mulberry trees, yes. Which is why my blog
called the blog Nonna's Mulberry Trees.
Yeah. And when I got to Ponte Landolfo, I guess the first time was in the 70s. I noticed there were mulberry trees here as well. And I also noticed how rural the place was. And I thought, oh, can you hear the banging? Oh, they stopped. The first time I had a children's theater and we did a performance at a firehouse and the siren went off. So all the actors stopped and just went. And I'm tempted to do that with the bang. Every time it bangs, I'll just go, wow. Anyway, so I grew up in this sort of rural community, and we were a politically active family. Right. We're Rooseveltian Democrats and proud of it. When my aunt Catherine left Ponte Landolfo, one of the reasons they left, she had polio when she was 2, and the preti here wanted to put her in an institution. Apparently you couldn't drag your leg and be part of society or something. And my grandmother was really afraid of that. My grandfather came to the United States first, and then my grandmother alone in steerage with all these kids, including my aunt with this disability. But she was really smart. She's really my idol. She wrote to Eleanor Roosevelt after she graduated from high school. And she said, look, I was top of my class and I can't get a job. And your husband has polio, and so do I. And would you help me? Now, maybe the letter was more flowery than that, but
Yes, yes.
essentially,
Quite
social
an initiative, though, isn't it, to do that?
and brazen.
Yeah.
Social services arrived and they took her, and she had surgeries done by Dr. Kessler himself, who was at the forefront of all of this. And then because of that, I think my grandfather started the Democratic Club in our little town with a couple of other Italian immigrants. And my father was mayor when I was a kid. So I grew up in a very politically active, and I liken that to theater family.
Right. So how did the move that you then made? I mean, you've done some wonderful things, haven't you? You've sort of written historical plays, you've acted on TV. How did you get into that from school?
I majored in theater.
Yeah.
Because I was going to be a star. Everybody in my class was going to be a star. And a couple of people actually were working actors, and some are still working actors today, and I'm super proud of them. When I got out, my father announced, well, I paid for your education. You're now going to be a school teacher, and in Hillsborough Township. And I went, oh, I can do that for a few years. At the same time, I had a theater in Manhattan called oh my God, I forgot the name of, oh God. And the second word was one, and it was like scrittore uno, but it was not in, oh my God, that's awful. Of course, it was 1970. That'll come back later. But I had a theater with a couple of other people. We started on 73rd Street for playwrights. Originals One, it came.
Originals
One, what a name.
Good title.
Yeah. And so I was doing that and commuting about an hour to New Jersey to teach in this high school. And I had a car accident. So we didn't go back to New York. We did the Hillsborough thing. But while I was there, I was directing the plays, and the schools at that time didn't think, well, they don't at this time, think the arts were particularly important. So there weren't massive budgets. And I found myself writing reviews and writing sketches for the kids to perform and writing children's plays for the kids to tour with. We always managed to find the money to pay the necessary licensing for like the musical. After 5 years, I realized that I had tenure. In New Jersey, you could be a teacher for life if you can last 5 years. And I thought, I don't want to be these people.
No.
I don't want to be the people who are in the faculty lounge complaining every single day about their lives. So I left. And during that time, it was the bicentennial. And simultaneously, I had started with another teacher, a children's theater company called the Laughingstock Company. And I was writing all the plays for that. And we toured really just the East Coast. We always did something called holiday surprises. Because I didn't know what the play would be. It was a holiday surprise.
You sound ideal to do this kind of thing, don't you? Really, so inspirational.
Yeah. So we did that for a long time, and then I got gigs out of that to write historic plays during the bicentennial for towns with these massive recreations with soldiers. And I'm really sorry, but the British always lost. Just saying.
What holds against you?
Thank you so much. And then I worked in radio. I wrote advertising copy. And because I liked doing it, I wrote advertising copy that no one else could read because it would be multi-voices.
Right.
And then I would have to be the person who read them too, which was great fun. And then during that time, with a woman who was a head of the dance department at the school that I had taught at, and I had always done all the lighting for her dance recitals, her concerts. We realized that Somerset County, where we lived, didn't have an arts agency. And in order to get funding from the state and from the federal government, you need to have a designated arts agency. At this point in time, the county didn't. So we created one. We just made it up. went through the process and were very successful producing events, recreating the dance of Ruth St. Denis, the mother of modern dance, who was from New Jersey. We just did all kinds of things. I mean, I can go on and on. I pumped gas. I've served ice cream. You know, we lived in Asbury Park for a while. We had the Bistro from Hell on the boardwalk.
Do you feel it's important that theatre, drama should really be part of every curriculum in every country to help children? I mean, now, you know, I don't know whether you have problems with kids in the States like we do in England, and also to a certain extent in Italy. So much anxiety, so much mental health problems. And you just wonder if doing drama as a child can somehow help that.
Not only do I believe that strongly, but I built 2 performing arts high schools. In New Jersey, we had a vocational school network, but we didn't have the performing arts. And in Somerset County, I was on a committee for the vocational school and got them, and I wrote all the empowering legislation so that we could have a performing arts component. And then I went on to do another one in Monmouth County. And in doing that, I did a lot of research to build the case.
Right.
And it is incredible. The data is there. Yeah. Kids who are part of a dramatic program or the arts in general always do better on the standardized tests. They seem to do better in life.
Really an interesting theory, isn't it? Really?
Yeah. And it's creative thinking. It's creative problem solving. It's the ability to say, I have nothing, I need to make something. How do I do it?
And it builds, and performing as well, I think, sort of builds up general self-esteem. I think it helps creating relationships, which perhaps kids don't do so much that these days. I mean, I remember at school, we had, I think I had to dance being Thor, that you know, some classical music, and when I had to dance and be this thunder. And at the time, it seemed the craziest thing in the world, all these kids jumping around to the Planet Suite by Holst. But I think really, it was just let it go, you know, just let go with it. And I'm sure that stood me in good stead now, really.
When I look at the Italian kids, and every year, every single child is in an oral program. And also they're taking their exams orally. I really think that all of those oral presentations helps with their self-esteem and their ability to connect on a global level.
Yes.
And I think, sorry out there, maybe I'm a Luddite, or is that a Luddite? But I think looking at a phone all day or looking at one's tablet doesn't enhance communication skills.
No, I don't think it does. But the background that you had and all these things that you were doing, I suppose there was a natural progression for you to move into more mainstream writing, which obviously that you've done now.
Yeah,
yeah. You can see behind you, and I love the title. It's the craziest title I've ever seen. Cars, Castles, Cows, and Chaos. With the little Fiat 500 in the background. That is the craziest title.
An oversized poster that I had made here, because I'm taking Fernando Fiat, who is one of the lead characters of Cars, parking him in different places with the poster so the publisher can do something with it, hopefully in the fall. So we're having a great deal of fun with that big poster over there.
So before we talk about the book, though, can we just? I noticed that, you know, for 20 years you've been sort of actively involved in researching your own ancestry, which many Americans do, and I really applaud you for doing that. Very few Brits do to the same extent, but for Americans, it's a real passion. My roots, I want to discover the roots, and I want to go back to where to the ancestral home. So how did that come about? How did you do that research, and tell us what you found?
First, I'm going to tell you that I went to the Tower of London and I saw the crown jewels and I started to cry. I don't know, 20. I'm making this up. I don't remember what year. And I thought, here is a place that respects its heritage. And I live in a country that's younger than one of these tiaras, you know? But growing up in an Italian-American home, we weren't allowed to think that we were Italian. I was born in 1949, just at the end of, I'm a baby boomer, right? At the end of World War II. There had been an Italian internment camp fairly close to where I lived. It was not particularly astute for one to declare they were Italian in the United States during World War II, because like the Japanese, Italians were put in internment camps. Most people don't realize that, but they were, because Italy was fighting with Hitler. So I never heard Italian growing up. I never heard the language, ever. My grandmother spoke, I don't even think she had an accent. She passed when I was 16, and I only ever heard English. I didn't know my father spoke Italian until I was probably 65. I never once heard an Italian word. No. We lived in a county that had Dutch farmers. Right. It was not, I mean, there are other Italian immigrants who went to places and to towns where there were enclaves of Italians, and they had a whole other experience than I did. Yeah. But something made me, when I did my little television show around and about New Jersey, it was an electronic field trip. So one of them was to Waterloo Village, where I had to talk about and interview kids about New Jersey's first people, the Lenape. And I thought, well, I don't know anything about my first people. So I started asking all the elders questions. When did you get here? What did you do? Do you have any old documents? And never throwing anything away. They had a trove of old documents. And then when actually it was before that, when I graduated from university, my Aunt Catherine, the one who had polio, took my cousin Mary Ellen, my cousin Bobby, and I to Italy to visit Ponte Landolfo.
And that was the first time?
That was the first time I saw it. And
what was that moment like then?
Well, I got to tell you, it wasn't pleasant.
Okay.
My aunt totally freaked out. She was, I was trying in my Berlitz handbook to talk to people. And people were saying, oh, come for coffee. And Aunt Catherine just wanted to leave. And that's on the way back, she told me the story about how the priest had wanted to put her in an asylum. And I think that fear factor hit her.
Right.
And she just went, ugh. So, it was the 70s. I took a Quaalude or something. I don't know what I took, because I thought we came all this way and we lasted a minute, probably 4 hours or something. We didn't meet people. We didn't find them, and we left. Years and years later, after I had done this family tree, with Aunt Catherine again, I was married at this point. We came back to Ponte Landolfo specifically to go to the municipal building and look through the old books. So we do that, and they were wonderful. They were wonderful. Two vigili carried my aunt up the 3 flights of stairs to where the old books were, and that's when I really realized I belonged here.
Right. That was the moment. That was the moment.
So we write down all of this stuff. My great-grandfather's, we discovered my great-grandfather had 2 families. There was a bit of an overlap. And my line is from the first wife, another Catherine.
Is this Salvatore that you're talking about?
Salvatore.
Okay.
Salvatore Guerrera is my bisnonna, my great-grandfather. Yes. And his wife was, and I said to them, well, this can't be right, because her surname is Guerrera, and so's his. Well, that can't be right. And the people there just laughed. They said, you don't get it. It's kind of like Smith. There were hundreds of them here, and they lived in different contrada or villages around the place. And so we did all this research, and we go down to the car, and we don't know what we want to do next, when another vigile appears, and he says, give me that. and he takes it and leaves. I went crazy. We just spent hours doing all this research. My husband was very calm, said, oh no, I'm sure he'll give it back. He just wanted to see it. I said, no, they don't want us to know. There's something going on. And Catherine is like, I told you this place is weird. I don't know. We should go. I was crazy. I was crazed. And then he comes back and he said, I found your first cousins. Come with me.
Wow.
We go to
them.
Yeah. We go to the first house, and I don't speak any Italian. And I really literally have that Berlitz guidebook, little book. Hello, my name is, and I have the family tree, and we go to the first house, and an older woman answered the door, and she refused to acknowledge me, refused to let me in, said, we have no relatives in the United States. Go away. I don't know you. And then there's a woman my age holding a brand new infant saying, come on in, have a coffee. And at this point, Jack is helping Aunt Catherine down the street because, again, she's wearing braces. She had polio, walking very slowly. And Aunt Catherine says, are you my cousin? And the little old lady started asking her questions. And the big question was, where is Libero Caperoso? And Catherine said, Bookie? Well, he lived with us. And then he went. And so she answered a couple more questions, and the lady realized that we were real. And we found out after the fact, because there had been these two lines from my great-grandfather, there, for some reason, 100 years ago, who knows why, the kids from wife number 2 had nothing to do with the kids from wife number 1. So since we're from wife number 1, they thought that, I don't know what they thought, why we were there. Then they embraced us and invited us the next day for food and to meet other people. And we've been close now for 24 years. That was 24 years ago. Then he takes us to the second house, and outside, and this one's really farm-like, with goats running around and sheep and the pigs in the pen. And there's a little old man sitting outside smoking one of those really long pipes, those ones with, and Catherine gets out and she straightens her dress, and he sees the brace and he goes, Caterina. He remembered her because how many people who were in the village whose surname was Guerrera dragged a leg.
Right.
And that was just an impassioned moment. An impassioned moment. And since then, I came back once a year. And then 10 years ago, we sold everything in New Jersey.
Yes, I know. I started reading the book. It's really bright. And it started with a tree. Not like the song, it started with a kiss. It started with a tree.
Yeah, I wasn't going to pay another $1,000.
No, to have another tree. No. I mean, the bit about the beginning, I mean, please share the anecdote, how you get rid of your possessions when, you get, what do you call them, a yard sale in the States, and you try and get rid of everything, and then you still seem to have so many things left. And there's a wonderful story. Please tell it. How you started.
Yes, I started a new initiative, and I really should write a book about that. Just a little guidebook for other people. I started something called the free sale.
Yes,
in the United States, we have different free cycle, they call it, like recycle, and you can put things one at a time. Oh, I have a cookbook, and then someone will say, oh, I'll come and get it.
Yeah.
Well, that would take forever. So I posted on every garage sale website, free sale, starting at 9 a.m. at this address. Now, never having done this, I thought, well, no one will come. At about 7 in the morning, the cars started coming in, and I went, and I said, and some dealer said, well, just let me have a look. I said, no, it starts at 9. Well, let me have a look. I like that. I said, well, that's $1,000. Well, you said it's all free. Oh, no, it's free at 9. If you want to pay, it's $1,000.
You're a tough negotiator.
And he said, well, you better give out numbers. I had no idea what he was talking about. Give out numbers. What does that mean? And then it hit me. Oh, like if they're here now and they're going to come back at 9. So I suddenly am making a book of numbers and handing out little numbers to people. And we had troves of people. They lined up. We had a really long driveway. We made a part. I called my sister, I called my best friend, and everyone's there. We've got balloons. We're making parking spaces. We just turned it into a circus.
Amazing.
And absolutely made it a game. Okay, I had a stopwatch. You've got 5 minutes inside the barn. It's only what you can carry out. No one can help you.
Yes.
And then I would go,
this is a great idea. This should catch on.
I know. I have to write a little guidebook. It was amazing. They were like, I don't know, ants over a sugar bowl. People took things you couldn't throw away.
Right.
You know, like broom handles without the broom, but not the kind you can screw in. It's broken. Maybe somebody used it to hit the side of the wall when they were angry. I don't know.
A man's trash is another man's treasure.
It's so true. My gosh. Absolutely, absolutely true. You know, Wendy, it was, I don't know, it was a magic moment, but it all went. It all went, and it had to, because usually it takes, I don't know, 6 months to a year to sell a house. We listed the house. It sold in a week for asking price. And they wanted to close right away. And so we got rid of everything. And then we said, what are we going to do? We have no place to go. You know, and I called my cousin, who we had met those 24 years ago, and she found, and we've been renting it ever since. We rent it year round, this fabulous, fabulous house with a great landlord, close enough that if I wanted to walk to the village, I could.
It's amazing.
You know?
I mean, it's on. I mean, obviously I've got it on my iPad, and I just wanted to sort of show everybody. The book is a lovely book, and I hope people can see this. And you have these wonderful illustrations, don't you? Interspersed with the lovely chapters. I mean, you call it a hilarious Jersey girls romp through Italy, and you have who did these drawings for you? They're so cute.
Oh, my best friend in the world, Janet Cantor Watson. She had been one of my students at Hillsborough High School when I got out of college, and I just sort of adopted her. And she's been part of my extended family, and I've been part of her extended family ever since. And she's a wonderful, creative person, wonderfully creative, doing marketing stuff and writing her own work and creating children's theater. But she's always done sketches. And when she was a student at the high school, she was always doing funny sketches of me, obviously to make fun of me, you know, which was okay. And I thought, oh, I'm going to ask her to do it because she can do funny sketches.
It's great. I mean, this chapter was about don't drive in Naples. Jack scowls and bellows, stop screeching. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. And people can buy that obviously in the ebook. Is there an audio book?
No, you can't buy an ebook.
Oh, you can't buy it?
No. The only way there's an ebook right now is for me to send to critics.
Okay, right.
You can only buy hard copy, and I was not astute enough to have one with me because I could have held up the little. Yeah. I can hold up the big poster.
You can.
But you can buy it in Europe at betterworldbooks.com, at Waterstones.com.
Yeah.
Also, of course, Amazon. You can buy it at Barnes and Noble. You can buy it directly from the publisher, Read Furiously. Again,
I saw that.
And in the US, there's something called bookshop.org. And I don't know if in Europe there's something like this, but it's a collection of independent bookstores, and they really want to compete with Amazon because they're losing, you know, I love bookstores, and they're losing such ground. So in this way, you can buy the book at bookshop.org, and you can say, well, I'm really buying it at my local bookstore. Right. And then they get a percentage.
Right. Okay. And also, you are hoping to do a tour of the book, aren't you? I mean, I'm really just 1 minute. My husband's outside with a grinder. Let me just shut the door. Hang on a sec.
I know, I've got the workman banging with big, I don't know what, and you've got
I've got grinding outside. He's doing the patio.
so what, no,
Yeah,
what I
you're
would
doing
like
this
to do is, well, I'm trying to get one together.
Yeah,
And it's the actor in me. I did 2 readings before we came to Italy.
yeah.
And I would love to do readings here, but I've been trying to research bookstores that cater to expats who speak English. And I only found one in Lucca and Etta's bookshop. And I sent them a letter saying that I would be willing to come to Lucca and do a reading for her customers, but I haven't heard anything. If you know her, give her a holler.
I'd love you to come to Abruzzo. I really would. We do have a bookshop in the village of Bizenti. As yet, I have not seen any. Well, I've seen English titles, but they are in Italian because we're in Abruzzo. So the level of English is spoken. But it would certainly be lovely to just, hire an agriturismo and just start giving tickets or tickets like that or something. And if you can get some copies.
I ordered some copies hoping that I would be able to do something like that.
Yeah.
They have not arrived yet. I'm hoping they will arrive eventually.
Because a book signing would be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I think it would be fabulous. I would enjoy it a lot. And your village is about 2 hours away, which isn't really that far. We just would have to spend the night, obviously. No, it would be great fun. What I'm trying to do is create this tour in November. So I'm contacting.
Please count us in. There's a lot of people in the area, a lot of Americans, British expats, American expats. And I think once we put it out there, I think there would be a lot of interest for people wanting to come and meet you.
Yeah, we could schedule something for October.
Absolutely.
Because in November, we'll be back in the United States.
Right.
For the holidays. So that's why I'm trying to do a United States thing in November. So I definitely, if we could plan something in October, and I know you're having your writers workshop.
The writers retreat is at the end of September, last week of September. So really excited about that. I just want to give people the opportunity. I mean, I'm advertising it as come with a project in mind, come with an empty page, see what happens. I've teamed up with a lady who has her own editorial business. So she's going to do the creative writing part. Let's just see where the road takes us, basically.
Oh, that's fabulous. I created something here called Cooking in the Kitchens of Ponte Landolfo.
I saw that. Wonderful.
And it's wonderful because people cook in the homes and then eat with the family and have a real Southern Italian experience. Of course, with COVID, we haven't done it for 2 years. It sort of stopped. But I've always thought it would be fun to do. I mean, I'm a playwright, really. Plays are and now that I've discovered essay writing, I love this too.
But that was that like a tourist initiative? The cooking thing?
The cooking thing was absolute. My reality. The word retirement is abhorrent to me. I do not like it. I do not want to be retired. So when I got here, and my husband is so happy, and he's reading books, and he's looking at the view, and he's having a lovely time, and I'm saying I'm going to take a pen and stab my head. I need to do something. But also, there aren't a lot of jobs here. No. And there weren't a lot of ways for people to make money. And I had started doing the blog the minute I got off the plane. I set that as sort of a way to journal. And ultimately, a lot of those things went into the book, Cars, Castles, Cows, and Chaos, to journal that. And one day there were a group of women, or 2 couples, actually, 2 women and 2 men, who came, and they were visiting my landlord, and he knocked on my door and he said, they're from America. Can you talk to them? Because his English is okay, but he hasn't spoken it in a long time. So I'm talking to these 2 women, and one of them goes, "Are you known as Mulberry Tree?" And I said, "Yeah, that's me. I felt like a movie star."
Blog.
That's my blog. That's me. I'm known as poetry. I'm so envious. I would love to be able to come here and spend time and just live like somebody here and do what you do.
Oh, wow.
And I said, oh, well, you can. And that second, Wendy, I made up this thing. We have this program called Cooking in the Kitchens of Pontalina. And if you have 4 people that you bring, we can put this together for you. Oh, well, what does it entail? Oh, I'll write it up and send you an email.
Yeah.
I got on the phone.
And that just came out of nowhere.
It came out of my mouth. I got on the phone. I called my cousin Carmela and a couple of other women. I said, I have this idea.
Yeah.
The idea is they're going to come to your house. You're going to teach them some local dish.
Yeah.
They're going to make it. They're going to stay and eat with your family. You're going to get paid. You're going to get the money for the food. We're going to rent a van. Some other kid is going to get paid to drive the van. We have to hire another kid to be a translator. So we created this thing and created a price based on 4 people. And that first year we had 8 people.
Wow.
And we realized that's our cap because the bed and breakfast here only had room for 8
You
people.
are truly inspirational. You really are.
Thank
You have so much positive energy. It's amazing and it's wonderful to see. We're running out of time now, I'm afraid, and it's been so nice to talk to you.
I need to call you because I need to hear more about what you do. So I'm going to have to email you and get your phone number.
Have a lovely day. Hope we're not too hot.
And thank you so very much for letting me talk about Cars, Castles, Cows, and Chaos, available wherever books are sold.
Love it. Love it. Okay, take care.
Thank you. Have a grand day.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.